Think it's a game? You think it's a game? It ain't no game. Everything affects everybody. The U.S. bans government personnel in China from romantic or sexual relations with Chinese citizens. What if you married a Chinese citizen? She worked in America. She went back over there. You can't mess with her. As long as you're working in China and you're a U.S. government official or an employee, guess what? You can't have any dealings with any Chinese. So not only are they telling you what you can and can't do, they're telling you who you can have relationships with. The U.S. government has banned American government personnel in China, as well as family members and contractors. So not just you, your son, your daughter, they can't have relationships with Chinese personnel. You'll be fired, potentially put in jail, as well as family members and contractor with security clearances. Now you got levels of security clearance. You can have a secret security clearance, which is the basic security clearance, all the way up to top secret. Any contractors with security clearances. And well, guess what? If you're a government personnel working in any foreign country, you have a security clearance. I got a security clearance. Well, my security clearance never expired, but yeah, I got a security clearance. So when you work for the government overseas, more than likely you got security clearances because there's something you're working on that they don't want to get out to any other country. But it's banning them with security clearances and family members, which don't have security clearances, from having romantic or sexual relationship with Chinese citizens. 4 people with direct knowledge of the matter told the AP about the policy, which was put in effect by departing U.S. Ambassador Nicholas Byrne in January, shortly before he left China. The people will speak on condition to discuss the details of a confidential new directive. Though some U.S. agencies have strict rules on such relationships, a blank non-fraternization policy, as it is known, has been unheard of publicly since the Cold War. It's uncommon for American diplomats in other countries to date locals and even marry them. A more limited version of the policy was intact last summer, prohibiting U.S. personnel from romantic and sexual relationships with Chinese citizens working as guards and other support staff to the U.S. Embassy and 5 consulates in the U.S. and China. But Burns, the departing ambassador, broadened that blanket to such relationships with any Chinese citizen in China in January, days before Trump took office. So it initially started with the last administration, and now they're just beefing it up now, where they laid it down for family members also. The AP is unable to determine exactly how the policy defined the phrase romantic or sexual relationship. Well, I'm guessing any. Well, yeah, I wonder, what did they consider romantic? Like just a date, or you know what I'm saying? What are they considering? Just a date, or like would bowling be a romantic relationship, or like what standards are we going off of? A walk in the park, a candlelit dinner? What are they considering romantic? Netflix and chill? 2 of the people with knowledge of the ban told the AP the new policy was first discussed last summer as members of Congress contacted Burns to express concern that restrictions of such relationships were not stringent enough. Damn, all this pop up. Come on, New York Force. The new policy covers U.S. missions in mainland China, including the embassy in Beijing and the consulates in Shanghai and Wuhan. Well, yeah, you definitely don't want to deal with anybody in Wuhan, as well as the American consulate in uh, autonomous territory of Hong Kong. It does not apply to U.S. personnel stationed outside of China. So it's only if you're in China you can't. The only expectation to this policy, U.S. personnel with pre-existing relations with Chinese citizens can apply for exemptions. So you said, what if the person's already married? You need to apply for an exemption. The only exemption to the policy is U.S. personnel with pre-existing relations with Chinese citizens. You have to apply for an exemption. So if you're over there with your wife and she was a Chinese resident and now she's an American, nope, you need to get an exemption. If the exemption is denied, they must end the relationship or leave their position. The people said anyone who violates the policy will be ordered to leave China immediately. So that's what's going on in China. It's wild, man. But that's what you sign up for. That's what you sign up for. The policy communicated verbally and electronically to American personnel in China in January, but not publicly announced. The State Department said it does not comment on internal matters. Now, when I first heard about what was I looking at? I was at work yesterday. I seen it. Was it an email? It wasn't. I don't know what made me look this up yesterday, but I was sitting at work and I heard some ramblings about it, and I was like, that ain't true. And I googled it. I was like, damn, it really is true. I mean, I work in Germany, so that don't apply to me. But you know what I mean? Well, that's some wild stuff right there. You ain't lying. The State Department and other agencies with offices in China have long had a stringent reporting requirements on personal relationships for American personnel stationed there, as well as rivals considered high intelligence threats such as Russia or Cuba. Now, I understand why they did this during the Cold War because you had the Cuban Missile Crisis, you had Russia over there talking about they gonna flex their power. We're not necessarily too worried about Russia right now. They can't handle the Ukraine. It's just we have a president that's kind of aligned with Russia. He was aligned with China, but China told him, we don't give a damn what you talking about. We gonna do our own thing. So we're about to see how all that affects us. But we'll jump into this older article from last week, and then we'll go into everything that the tariffs got going on right now. Wild times. Well, it's only violating if they are Chinese citizens. So I guess if they become an American citizen, it's all right. But if they still have their Chinese citizenship, that's probably where you got to get the exemption. But if it's denied, then you just got to leave it over with, man.